everybody? It's your boy Aaron B, and I got some special guests. This is a Tacos and Touchdown record. We got three special guests on here, and this little old country boy Aaron B with these great individuals. So I'm gonna let them introduce themselves. So we'll go from the top to the bottom. So I'll let my guy Jay Tuck go first.
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jay Tuck, man. Hey, thanks for having me on, man. I'm excited to be here. Shane reached out to me. It's draft season. I'm excited about it. It's been a long process, a lot of conversation. So we are just days away from next Thursday. So I'm ready, man. So let's get it.
What's going on, everybody? KD Drummond, Cowboys Wire, USA Today Network. My pleasure to be joining you, Aaron, on your show with these other fine gentlemen, and looking forward to this draft, man. Like Tuck said, we only got a little bit of time left, so let's get these mocks in and make sure everybody knows how we feel about these picks that the Cowboys are going to be making.
Absolutely.
I felt necessary to reach out to these two guys to have them on the show, but this will be my fourth time on Aaron's show, and I want to introduce them to a bigger platform. And I thought, what better way than two of the biggest follows in Cowboys Nation with these two guys? And I thought, if I could do anything to help my guy Aaron out, it would be to bring on some higher profile guests. So the audience knows who I am, but let's just get started.
Yeah, for sure. So
I'm humble, man. I'm humble. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, appreciate y'all for being on. So we're doing the Pro Football Network. So do we want to do the draft speed normal, or do y'all want to do it fast, or we could just see whoever everybody else is picking?
I'm cool doing a normal if we're going to entertain trades.
Yeah, let's do it normal because I know the new turbos and fast, they just be.
Yeah, you ain't going to see
flying.
Yeah, we'll stick to normal. So 7 rounds. So everybody that's into watching these drafts, this is perfect for you right now. So
Get it.
So see the first one. CJ,
Bryce. Y'all still think CJ going number one, or y'all?
No, I think it's Bryce.
It's going to be Bryce, right? Yeah.
Bryce.
Jalen Carter.
Q's gone.
Okay.
Dalton Kincaid's off.
JSN is gone.
Deontay Banks.
Bijan's gone.
There's Bijan.
So we got a trade from the Colts for the 35th and the 79th.
Okay, so
what are we thinking?
So maybe because we only have 7 picks, and the Cowboys traditionally trade back rather than trade up.
Mm-hmm.
And that'd only be 9 spots below, and you give out the same value coming from 26 to 35.
We had 3 offers. So what's the next one?
Yeah, what's the other offers?
Let's see here.
Got the Browns.
Ooh,
whoa, okay.
I ain't paying $10 million to Tony Pollard and $12 million to Detroit.
Right.
That's not happening.
All right, let's use the other one.
Got the Saints.
So I would entertain. What was that? The Colts with the first one?
Yeah. I mean, you winning. You're winning 35 and 79. You're winning as far as the points. Dropping 9.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, the only thing that's bad about that is you don't get the 5th-year option if you drop to the 35th pick.
5th-year option to me is like there's a lot of talk about that. And obviously the team likes to do the 5th-year option on players that they want to retain. If they don't give it to you, obviously you've either been injured or you've been a bust. Mm-hmm. But also the Cowboys almost always to a T give you the 5th-year option and then work out the extension, like almost to a T. It's only Byron Jones, LVE, Taco was released before he even got to be eligible for it. But Byron Jones is really the only person that didn't have an injury history that they gave a 5th-year option to and didn't work out an early deal with somebody after the 3rd year. They're going to give CD his multi-year deal after the draft. So for me, I don't mind giving up the 5th-year option if the value's there in the trade back. But 9 spots is a pretty steep drop for me.
That's a good point. Honestly, I would consider the trade back just to get the extra value of the 35th pick. Then you also have 58 and also 79. But it really depends on what the Cowboys' focus point is. Like, is there a player sitting there that's available that they really need? So if I'm looking at the board, I'm seeing Lucas Van Ness, Isaiah Foskey, Nolan Smith, who I would be intrigued with, Darnell Wright. So if looking at the board, I would probably want to stay put. But me personally, selfishly, I would probably move back just to get more picks because I know, this is a deep class. But I think the Cowboys would probably stick and reject this offer.
Yeah. 'Cause I'm a little bit like I do want that 79th pick just to be selfish.
Right.
Well, so here's a real question when you talk about trading back, though, is what's your target? Do you have a position that you're targeting? Do you have a specific player that you're targeting that you think is going to be there if you move back? If you really legitimately say there are 9 guys right now that I feel comfortable with the Cowboys taking, which might be the case because this is one of those drafts that if you're not in the top 10, once you get past 18, that 18 to 35 window, a lot of similarly rated prospects. So if you're feeling that way, like you have 9 to 12 people that you'd be like, yeah, I'm definitely cool with any of these dudes right here. Plus I'm getting 79, you absolutely make the trade. But if you only have 3 or 4, you got to probably assume that you're going to lose those guys if you move all the way back.
Yeah, because like looking at the board, like I said, Lucas Van Ness, Nolan Smith, you probably miss out. Kalijah Kancey, probably miss out. Darnell Wright, but you have Anton Harrison, you have Will McDonald, Trenton Simpson, Zay Flowers still there, DeJuan Jones, Jamar Gibbs. So there's a lengthy list that you can possibly, move 9 spots back and still get you a quality guy. But
Yeah,
I just think I just think Cowboys would pass up on this offer. But me personally, I would take it. But
so I'm sitting here thinking like Darnell Washington isn't even on on this list of next potential guys on this list, on PFN's list of the next available prospects. He's not even showing here. So by that philosophy, you got to imagine that he's going to be there at 35. For me, that's there's really got to be somebody that stands out that's going to make me move away from Darnell Washington on a trade back. I'm all in on taking that guy at that point. So I might have just talked myself into saying go ahead and do a trade back. I started one way and now I might be feeling the other. So
let's do it.
Let's do it. Shane?
All right. Well, what I'm noticing is that a lot of these really good edge rushers fell, and that's one of the positions that's super deep in this draft. So whether they fell back or not, they could probably land a Will McDonald, who we all know that Dan Quinn really likes. He's a Dan Quinn specialist. If I were to think about who they would probably go with this pick, it might be something like a Darnell Wright, just because we know that that guard is their biggest need. He might be one of the few tackles that could really switch to guard. And if you look at the draft history, Tyler Smith, Zach Martin, Connor Williams, they like to get these tackles with position flex. And I think Darnell Wright might be that guy. So if they stay put, I feel like he's the pick.
I agree.
Yeah, I lean with you on that. If we stay here and make the pick, I'm all for taking Wright because I think that domino effect works out well of doing that and solidifying your offensive line, and then that just makes everything else that you're trying to do better. So let's make that decision. Do we stand? Or do we stay put for Darnell Wright, or do we trade back with some other guys that are in our grasp?
I'd rather pick Wright. I'd rather pick Wright and just wait out.
I'm starting to lean on Wright right now, to be honest.
That's 2 for Wright. What you thinking, Chuck?
So that's to complicate things.
I would trade back.
I'm in the same boat.
I would trade back.
So we got 2 votes for trade back, and then 2 for staying with Wright. So somebody got to flip a coin.
I mean, that's a good offer the coach just put in front of my plate, man. It's hard to pass up on, So I would trade back, but let's go Darnell Wright, man. We'll stick and pick for now.
Okay, fair enough.
Darnell Wright. Let's see.
Ooh, Gibbs to the Eagles. Sounds about right.
There's nothing the Eagles are going to do that's not going to piss us off.
Right. They're sitting in good position.
They are.
It's all right.
Yeah, there went Ojulari. He was one of my favorites from second round.
Washington went 43.
So we would have had him at 35 if we had done that move. So put that down in the old little memory bank. Mims going 54. I like that. He's a great fit for the Chargers if he goes there. I almost called him San Diego.
Yeah, decline this Green Bay trying to get over.
So we move back 20 spots and we get to second next year.
Right.
So we're all in agreement. Rejected.
Yeah, reject that.
Okay.
Hang up the phone, Mike McCarthy.
So we got Cedric Tillman.
So this one's a little bit different because normally I do the PFF. So you do have Steve Valio sitting right there at 53. So we could have got our guard and maybe
Yep.
Got your tight end too. So
And still had 79. You see what I'm saying?
Right,
So
yeah. Reset.
but honestly, that brings to light something that I notice about, because I switch back and forth. Like I do for my mock articles, I go back and forth between Pro Football Focus and FanSpeak. So FanSpeak gives you the opportunity to choose from like 15 different big boards, so you can always manipulate, the way that the board falls to give you some different ideas. Because that's always the challenge is, this is PFN's algorithm, this is PFN's big board. That's going to be completely different than someplace else that you go. So you're going to get all types of results. Like Steve Avila would never be available on PFF.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So,
based on that board, I really like Keanu Benton. I think he's quietly one of the best defensive tackles in this draft. He's slowly rising. And since obviously we ain't got no offensive line, there's Cody Ma. I like Cody Ma a lot, but where he got right, Avila's there. Avila's my pure interior offensive lineman number 1, but we already got Wright, who I think could potentially have a higher upside anyway.
Right.
Jack Campbell's interesting because we know the Cowboys love to draft linebackers. Who else is down the list? Just to see who else is down there.
I would say the thing about Jack Campbell, he kind of fits that mold of LVE already.
Sure.
So I just, that would kind of be a hard pass for me personally. Like you mentioned Keanu Benton, but I love Javon Dexter out of University of Florida. Just another big nasty 3 tech that Dan Quinn can add. Siaki Ika out of Baylor, your big nasty 1 tech. If you're looking to plug someone in there, and then you're my favorite running back, Devon A-Train is what I've been calling him. So if you want to go running back, you can possibly go there. So we got options, Ideally, I would be thinking defense, I think, with this pick, whether you're going defensive tackle. I love Derek Hall, but I feel like he's a little bit of the same cloth as Sam Williams, so you don't really need 2 of those types of guys.
Right.
So I would be leaning towards Keanu Benton or Javon Dexter with this pick.
Katie, who you seeing?
I don't see it with the DTs, especially a DT that they didn't bring in for a 30 visit or Dallas Day. They didn't show any pre-draft interest in either one of those guys. Like they might have shown some in Dexter. Hold on, let me check to see if they show something in Dexter.
Which is why Tyreek Stevens didn't.
They talked to Dexter at the combine, but they didn't bring him in. They didn't do his pro day. They didn't bring him in for a visit. So I'm a little bit off on that because I just don't think Dallas doesn't like defensive tackles. They love linebackers. I wish they would flip it. They love linebackers, but they don't like defensive tackles.
Right.
So for them to not bring in one is kind of like, I see them looking at Mozzie Smith as a 30. I see them looking at Jacqueline Roy as a 30. They went to an effort to get more information on those DTs. So I would probably lean like they're not going to do a DT that they didn't bring in, or at least, speak to or work out or whatever. So I would pass on those guys. Honestly, I think with the way that they paid attention to wide receiver, I'm thinking that this is an offensive-based draft. So can we see like what other wide receivers like? Because I'm just not familiar with these rankings. I don't know who's gone.
I know who Tuck wants.
He's already gone. He went to Pittsburgh.
Oh,
yeah, Josh Downs went to Pittsburgh. You
So
do have my other one, Tyler Scott. They're available.
I think they're really in on Mingo, like really in on Mingo for a 3rd round pick. I think if he's there, and by him being 118 on this board, we're kind of cheating, looking at how everybody does it. When you're doing a mock draft, you cheat. You're like, oh, I can wait until the 4th round to take this dude.
Hey, you know what?
Yeah, so
I saw another 30 visit on there. Tyreek Stevenson, the cornerback out of Miami, he was ranked I think 70th or 71 on there. He's got that long range that Dan Quinn likes at cornerbacks. What about him?
Yeah, I think he'd be a good pick. Is Forbes gone already?
I think.
Yeah, Forbes probably gone already. I would assume.
Sorry, Aisha.
He's
30.
Raiders.
Okay.
Yeah, Darius Rush out of South Carolina. Oh.
Yeah, I'm actually good taking Stevenson for that length. I'd be good with. Where do they have Roy? Jacqueline Roy.
He's sitting there 117.
Okay, so he's right there with Mingo. Him and Mingo are side by side. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's whatever y'all want to do. I know that they got the Alabama kid at that same range. Okay. I mean, it's a committee, so I ain't trying to bogart it, whatever y'all,
So if we're going between Mingo and Roy, I would probably lean towards Roy a little bit more because I feel like Mingo's going to be sitting there. Like Katie said, we can kind of cheat a little bit. I would probably just go get Roy. As a
You
right
want to do him this early or a third round?
Well, that's the hard part because one of them's probably gonna get wiped out.
Right.
So
I think Mingo might be the pick just because it looks like the defensive tackle and the cornerback drafts looks like they could probably afford to wait a little bit on them, whereas the wide receivers are starting to get taken.
Right receivers getting tight. Yeah.
This might be when you take Mingo. It might be a bit of a stretch, but this might be the best chance to get him. And realistically.
So let's look. So they did. Let me go through my list.
Mm-hmm.
They did a workout with Tillman, so they like him. They like Tillman. They did Dallas Day with Rice, so they like him. They brought him in for that's like a 30 visit when they do Dallas Day individually.
Mm-hmm.
Who else is up there? They like Dell. They had a workout with Dell. They did a 30 visit on Mingo. They talked to Scott at the combine.
Yeah.
They didn't do Boucher. They didn't do Palmer. They didn't do Perry. So that's what you're looking at, like Tillman, Rice, Scott, Dell, Mingo. Out of that list right there, those are the wide receivers that they had some contact with.
Tyler Scott would be my personal preference.
That's your guy.
That's my guy.
All right.
He played running back too, so kill two birds with one stone.
The Cowboys are in a weird position with the receivers here because they have their three starters set up, but they have almost no depth, and so you almost think the receiver is going to have to be you have to use a top 100 pick on one, but you don't have to necessarily get a starter. You're seeing a guy who can develop. So I'm fine getting a Dell or a Scott as a developmental guy because if we assume right now that it's Lamb, it's Gallup, it's Cooks, and then the fourth receiver just by default would be Turpin, just because he's your kick returner.
Yeah, Turpin or Fehoko. I think they're gonna give Fehoko that Noah Brown role.
Right. And then after that you got Jalen Tolbert, who we still have hope for, but he showed us nothing last year.
Right.
And Mike McCarthy traditionally keeps 6 or 7 receivers on the roster anyway, so it would probably be someone who can play special teams, right?
Right.
So
if you're saying that's between Scott, Dell, and Mingo, or those are like strong possibilities, then you're saying that you can wait until the third round because one of those three guys is going to be there if you wait until the third round.
Right. Let's take a peek at tight end real quick because that's the hot topic button. Let's see.
Okay.
It's there.
Oh, they got my guy. SLP, that's my guy.
Sam Laporta.
A lot of people like Laporta.
I love Laporta, but they don't pick tight ends in the second round. The last 10 years, they picked tight end in the top 100 once.
Exactly.
And that was Gavin Escobar.
Right.
The fourth round and beyond is their tight end spot.
Exactly. I have an article on that in the queue for this weekend. They just don't do tight end early. Like they just don't care.
No.
Their interest in Washington and Tucker Kraft says that they could care, but it's more like, let's make sure we do some research if these guys fall below where they're projected. Right. Like they wouldn't take Washington at 26. But if they traded back or somehow he made it to 58, they wanted to be prepared to take that kind of guy. That's the way that I'm seeing they approach this tight end group. Yeah. Do you see difference in all of these dudes like Laporta, Latu with a 30 visit, Kuntz, Schoonmaker? They talked to at the combine, so they have 3 30 visits: Washington, Latu, and Kraft.
Yeah. So. SLP, I think, might be the best combination of receiving and blocking. He's very raw. He's very raw at both, but he has like the really good combination of both. He's a great run blocker, and he's good after the catch. He's not really defined route runner. Latu is a developed blocker as well, but he has more abilities as a receiver as of right now.
Yeah, and Zach, more just a receiver, just 6'7" wide receiver coming off a knee injury. I mean, he's 6'7", can run. Then you have Schoonmaker. So. I mean, I feel like the separation of the pack would be Sam Laporta here if you're looking to get a tight end. But like you said, Katie, they typically don't do that in the second round. So if we're thinking from the Cowboys lens,
right?
Jack Campbell,
linebacker. I mean,
they pick linebacker high. They pick linebackers.
I mean,
and I hate them for it. Like,
yeah,
I want to send positive vibes.
Right.
Like, don't take a linebacker this early. Like,
they do it.
So Campbell's an animal, though. I mean, that's good value right there.
He fits the Cowboys mold, but I love Ivan Pace, even though he's a little undersized. And
me too.
I mean, he's high wire, he's high motor.
There's a lot of these like 225, 230 linebackers now. Like, the mold is changing. Like, I mean, I know when LVE came out, he was super athletic, but he was still a big, stocky dude. These are like these 225, 230 guys are kind of impressive. it's basically the way that they play Curse. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They play Curse as that guy who can play that matchup, come down in the box, live there.
Right.
Which way? What are they looking for? Because Curse and Hooker are on the last years of their deal, so that's their deep safety, and then their box guy, who's basically the third linebacker. Is that what you're looking for, to get a linebacker to be that guy, or are you looking for a linebacker to do what? Be up in more in the box and dedicated like LVE replacement. They got him for 2 years. They got Devin Clark. Do they believe in him? It feels like they're moving past Jabril Cox. Like, what do we think they're trying to solve with this linebacker pick?
Yeah, I would just think.
The only thing that he solves right away is run defense. Between him and Pace is a better coverage guy. Campbell's a better run stuffer, and they were bad against the run last year. But that's why they re-signed LV and re-signed Hankins. So that might be why they jump ahead and just go ahead and take Campbell. Like you said, KD, just value wise, he's probably the best pick.
Yeah, I feel like you can wait for your defensive tackle. So I would go Jack Campbell, even though I love Ivan Pace. I think Jack Campbell fits what the Cowboys traditionally like to do a little bit more than Ivan Pace, and also Deion Henley, because Deion Henley, he's an older prospect. He's probably gonna be like 24 by this time season starts. So I would go with Jack Campbell. I'm going with Jack Campbell.
Me too.
So
the green dot guy of the future.
Jack Campbell it is. I was high on Ivan Pace.
Something died inside of me right there, but
I know
the community wins. The community wins.
I always tell people it's not fun when you go from the Cowboys perspective. You're just like, what Cowboys do, like, it's what they're gonna do, man. I tell you what I would do.
I save going all Cowboys, like 100% what the front office would do until like the very last week. And I guess we're approaching that, but I still try to project positive vibes on what I would like them to do up until the last minute when I turn in that huddle report and it's like, okay, go ahead. This is what the Cowboys are going to do type of shit. So
now that we're in the third round, this is the sweet spot where they pick running backs or defensive tackle.
So you got Roy sitting right there.
I think, yeah.
Oh, my bad. Roy and Mingo.
Ooh. Jeez. They got Miller, Bigsby.
Israel Benny.
I like Bigsby a lot. I just don't know how y'all feel about him.
No, I like Bigsby. I like Bigsby, but I'm also looking at, you can go Roshan, McIntosh, Spears.
Oh, Spears! I didn't see him down there. Spears is actually one of my favorite running backs.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a
lot. If he's not injured, he's a top 5-6 running back. If you don't have the lengthy injury concerns with him, he's Tony Pollard. He allows you to let Tony Pollard walk after the franchise year.
And that's what's crazy about this draft. Like, a lot of running backs that you scout, you're like, that feels like Tony Pollard. That feels like it feels like Tony Pollard.
They're easy comparisons this year.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? Honestly, there's so many flavors to running back. You can pick and choose which mold you're trying to fit. You know what I'm saying? So,
you know what Tank Bigsby kind of like reminds me of, and this ain't a comparison, but just his running style and like how strong he is upper body. It reminds me of a little Nick Chubb. He's really strong upper body. And he's just like, he goes through the whole, he's patient with them. He didn't necessarily have to force his way through it. I don't know how high he is on the Cowboys radar. I know you said Kendre Miller was a 30 visit.
Kendre Miller was Dallas Day because he's TCU. So he's a Dallas Day, so might as well be a 30 visit. He came in by himself.
Right.
Drove himself to the facility. Everything was legal. They didn't pay for anything. He's a Dallas Day guy.
Okay.
But they looked at Bigsby at the combine. They haven't met with him since the combine. They did Zach Evans 30 visit. Zach Evans might have been a Dallas Day too. I think he's Houston. So that would have been a 30 visit. But yeah, they worked out Spears. They worked out Devin from Texas A&M. Worked out Roshan. Combine visit with Israel and Eric Gray. So I mean, they're clearly looking in this third, fourth round for one of these dudes.
Can we look at receivers? I just want to see what that looks like.
Ooh,
there you go, Scott.
There we go.
That's all their guys.
All of them made it.
I think
Scott,
it might be
all there.
I think it might be receiver.
Yeah,
I think.
I would probably go Mingo, even though I don't think that he's going to be here in the third because he's shooting up the boards like crazy. Yeah. But if he had the opportunity to probably grab him, I would grab him. And the only reason why, because Tyler Scott's a little bit older prospect as well. Yeah. So I would probably lean towards Jonathan Mingo. I like Jaden as well.
That's how I feel, because Mingo's a guy who has the physicality that is like he's a little bit smaller than AJ Brown, but he's that dude in that mold, same school, same physical mold. And I can see him going around later because he doesn't have the production that Brown had at Ole Miss. You know what I'm saying? Brown was a star. Mingo has the traits, but wasn't in the same quality of an offense. So it's more of a projection than it is, actually seeing it. But he's a guy that if you're looking for somebody different than what you have, the mentality of us fans is the Cowboys don't have the speed. They got Cooks. Cooks is, a 1 or 2 year rental. He's not somebody that you're building around, but he's good enough for the next 2 years.
Right.
Mingo, now that you have Cooks, Mingo literally brings you another aspect of your offense that you don't have right now. It's kind of what everybody wishes Michael Gallup was. And I know I'm going to get killed for this because I'm told that I'm a Gallup hater. I'm not. I'm just not a fan of giving him the contract that they did.
And, coming off the injury.
And I don't know if he comes back. He hasn't been a star since 2019. That was before injury that he had regressed. So now that he has the injury, I'm really doubtful that we're going to see that 1,000-yard receiver again. Mingo brings you that plus speed. Like he's not, after Jet Burner, but he has enough speed to run away from people. I don't know how you pass up on Mingo if he's sitting there at the third round and you haven't gone wide receiver.
Yeah, I agree. And plus, like we have to consider it, and it sucks because we have to kind of toss Michael Gallup in kind of that LVE kind of Tyron Smith, like, can you really think he's going to be there for 17 games? And honestly, I wouldn't bet money on it. So this is what you said, Shane. Like you can get a guy as a wide receiver kind of sitting in the wings, but then when something kind of breaks down, you have an instant plug and play, and that would be Jonathan Mingo. Go out there and play X, you can play Z. Just get your offense out there moving. So I'll go with Mingo here.
Yeah, if there's anything I got against Mingo, it's route separation. But if he's going to be the fifth or sixth receiver, he's got time to develop that. He's going to play special teams his first year, and they seem to like him. So I'm fine with Mingo being the pick here.
I'm down with Mingo.
4 votes for Mingo. There it is. I love this draft now. I feel so much better about it.
Big relief.
Y'all don't know how much I hate linebackers, man.
Hey, now we can start looking at tight ends.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's gonna be the pick. I'm saying now we can start looking at them.
Right. So the dilemma I always have is I don't feel like you need to take a tight end early, right? You don't have to. I would take Washington if he was there. I'm prepared for them to take Mayer or Kincaid, probably Mayer if he's there. I'm prepared for them to do that at 26. But once you get past, okay, I didn't take him here. I didn't take him in the second round. You get to the third, fourth round, then you're saying, okay, well, how much better is this guy going to be than what we have already? So do we have to take one now? Like, that's always the dilemma. I'm like, okay, I can wait on tight end. And then I get to the fourth round and I'm like, oh, well, this DT, this such and such.
Right.
Okay, I can pass on tight end and I'm okay. Go get a veteran that's on the market, after the draft, just add somebody to the room and you just say you get by with what you get by with.
We didn't get any trade offers, it looks like.
No, we didn't get any trade offers on this one.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm with you, Katie. Like, I feel like when it comes to the tight end positions, really 3 that just gives us something that we really just don't already have, right? And that's Kincaid, even though he's an older prospect. And you have Washington, who's a super freak. And then you have Mayer, who's kind of your balance, could do it all. So it's like those 3 guys is why I'm kind of saying, like, I would understand it if the Cowboys went that way. But then you talk about Luke Shoemaker or Will Mallory, then it's like, all right, bro, I already got that at home. So it's like, do I really even need to go get a tight end, just like you're saying? And that's what always happens when I do my mock drafts. Like, if I don't get the tight end early, I'm not getting them at all, because I was just like, now it's pointless. So because you already have 3 people in house that can already hold things down. And they have youth, they have size, they have athleticism. I mean, you can't tell me that Luke Shoemaker is a step above Henny and Ferguson. So I don't.
Yeah. You can't convince me, and you certainly can't convince me that year one.
Right.
Like, because I'm sitting here making the argument like you don't know what you're going to get because of the small sample size out of those guys. But at least those guys have a year in the league.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And a year, 2 off seasons work with Dak as opposed to, getting their feet underneath them. So
other than like downfield ability and speed, what does Will Mallory even give you that Hendershot didn't already give you?
Yeah, I'm not even keen on most of like, I'll be honest, my study of the tight ends, just because I get to that point and I'm just like, okay, well, spend more time on somebody that's actually going to make a difference.
Right.
You can still get in this draft. You could still get difference makers. I think at this point in round 4, you could still get somebody that's going to be able to contribute within the first 6 weeks of the season. They'll get on the field. They'll be, contributor beyond special teams, start to work in the rotation. I think you can still get that. If you get a running back right now, I think you can get like day 1 productivity out of them. So I'm not against doing something like that. Yeah. See,
my guy Spears is right there, and I'm real tempted.
Right. So I would, there's much more value and need for Tyjae Spears over any of those tight ends listed. Did we take a corner? We didn't take Tyreek.
No, we didn't take a
corner. So I would probably look at either running back or cornerback. But once again, like the corners, there's Jalen Roy sitting there.
Let's see the corners real quick. Let's see the corners real quick. Before we jump.
Hodges.
They got Hodges. That's my guy.
He was Dallas Day, but they're not taking that short dude, man.
They do got Jacorian Bennett's there. I think he's higher than 158 at least. I think overall.
You also have Garrett Williams sitting there at 171.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get on this.
This board is interesting. This board is interesting. I haven't seen Garrett Williams that low. Like that's low.
Yeah.
I mean, Riley Moss is pretty low as well, and he's another freak.
So I would probably go with Roy since he's sitting right here in front of our face, to defensive tackle.
He's been there for a minute.
We got Roy, we got Spears. Okay, so let's do this. If we don't take Roy, what are our other options at DT later
on? Moro Jumbo's a 3-tech. Wooden.
Are we looking for 3-tech? Or are we looking for?
I think nose, right?
Nose. So you have Keandre
from Coastal Carolina.
Where is he? He's probably down because Coburn is 258.
Yeah, you mean 2?
Yeah, so Keandre Coburn.
I like Broderick Martin from Western Kentucky a lot. I think you could probably get him the 6th.
They're buried on this list.
Gerard Clark from Coastal Carolina is there.
Yeah, I don't. They have him as LSU, but that's Coastal Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay, that's looking. I was like, wait.
They got Lacey. Lacey's a 30 visit. They like Lacey.
Okay.
They like Lacey.
State.
Yeah, they like.
They find those Oklahoma State guys on day 3 anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you could wait defensive tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You could wait defensive tackle and get a Bohanna. I mean, we all have guys that we like, but 9 times out of 10 they're going to end up being Bohanna when you wait until the 6th round. Mm-hmm. It's the guy. We all have hope. Mm-hmm. Normally doesn't work out.
Right.
Or you could take the guy that you think is like potential stud. Like Roy looks like he can be it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And
then do you get washed at running back if you do that? What's running back look like?
Running back's got some guys I like. Obviously, Spears is one of my favorite players in the draft overall. Deuce Vaughn, I really like Deuce Vaughn. His daddy's in the building.
Yeah, daddy's in the building.
Yeah. But I think he might be a 5th round target. I think him and Keaton Mitchell. I like Keaton Mitchell.
Yeah, I love Keaton Mitchell out of East Carolina. And then you have, Deneric Prince, but
Ibrahim's not bad. Plus, they even kind of said that they would like a power back, someone who's like a blocker or a bruiser. Roshan Johnson kind of feels that, but is 4th round a little rich for him?
It feels it, but
I got him in the 5th and 6th range.
Well, then I think maybe we can afford to wait on running back. I think cornerback or DT should be the play, just because there's a lot of good cornerbacks, and I don't know if they're going to be there a little bit later. But DT has like a real thinness to it right now, for lack of a better word.
Yeah. So look at corner.
I love Hodges Tomlinson, but Dan Quinn doesn't like short cornerbacks.
Maybe they're gonna break the mold, man. They normally don't.
I agree. I wanted Asante Samuel 2 years ago. I wanted Asante Samuel Jr.
I know Hodges is not breaking it.
They're not breaking it. Now,
Garrett Williams is average.
If they were loaded up with long-term contracts, I think they take a small guy. Right. They're looking for somebody to be that number 2 after old boy retires. Because Gilmore, I love the trade for Gilmore. Don't get me wrong. He could fall apart by week 8.
Right.
They need a guy that can be that boundary corner because they want to play. They want to play bland on the interior. So
he's at least.
So here, if you're looking kind of for that type of player, Jacorian Bennett. But you also had, Riley Moss, a freak athlete, as you mentioned, but also Garrett Williams. Like Garrett Williams, injuries, he would be probably one of the top 5 corners in this year's class, but 5'10", cleats 5'11" ish. Work.
Well, they're already 4 deep on cornerback. Think about it, they got Diggs, they got Bland, who was a steal last year, Lewis, and obviously, like you said, they traded for Gilmore, so they can afford to take a flyer on a 5th cornerback because otherwise, Deshaun Wright it might be your 5th cornerback or Kelvin Joseph. So
right,
that's one I would be fine taking Garrett Williams here.
I would go
like Garrett Williams being ranked 171 is just mind-boggling.
Right,
it is.
I mean, he's not 6, but he's 5'10".
Right.
His arm length isn't great. He's
probably love with shoes on.
Yeah, with his profile, man, his dating profile. Man. He's probably about 6 foot, man. So I would go with Garrett Williams. He's too good to pass up sitting right here in the 5th round. Corner.
And then the Cowboys like injured guys that have been hurt before, so
they like cornerbacks with ball skills too, don't they?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I'm cool taking Williams at the pick, but
I would say Williams.
I feel like a pass. I'd rather take Roy. I'd rather take I'd rather take Roy or a running back. What you think, Aaron?
Yeah,
I'm stuck between Williams and Roy, and it's been for the longest. I've been looking at Roy for the longest. Now I want that defensive tackle.
Come to the dark side, my brother. Come to the dark side.
I mean, it's your show. It's your show, so you could definitely override us.
Yeah, you can override us. Yeah. So
Mary Jones.
Hey, you're Jerry. We're Steven.
You know what? I think I'm gonna go with Roy.
There we go.
All right.
There we go.
He's a
That's
real
cool.
fine ball player.
That's fine. hey, with Hankins and Osa there and Chauncey Golson flexing inside, that allows them to really pick a guy that can be just a rotational defensive tackle his first year anyway. So I'm cool with it.
All right, let's go.
You might, in the way this board is, you might still have Williams sitting right there at the next pick.
Right, at 173, exactly.
Hey, that happens every year. Players fall every year.
There is. There's always 2 or 3 guys that people said there's no way he lasts past 58, 60, whatever the case, and he's sitting there in the 4th or the 5th round, and you're just like, somebody took him, and then they end up being great, like my boy Akeem McNeil, went to Detroit. Like, I could not understand how he was on the board as long as he was, because I thought that he was borderline 1st rounder last year. He ended up going, 3rd round to Detroit? Like, there's always guys that fall 2 or 3 rounds beyond where you think they're going to go.
Right. And also, like, the thing that we also always don't know is those medicals. Like, when those medicals come out pretty much like a day before the draft, you find out, so I remember when
this dude had a backiotomy.
Yeah. I remember, like, we were in Vegas, and it was just like the Kobe Dean shoulder. I was like, we didn't been covering the draft.
Nobody knew it.
Yeah.
Nobody knew it.
He's born with a 6 pinky toe.
Yeah. All right. So we'll go with Roy this pick.
Let's do Roy.
Someone got pictures leaked.
Yeah.
Oh, Clayton Tune went 132. That's interesting.
Okay. I like Clayton Tune. I think that's actually a decent range from 4th, 5th round. I think he has a high developmental upside. He's definitely 2 years away, but I like what his traits.
I mean, I like him better than Max.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I ain't a fan of Duggan. Are we going?
I would have loved to see Dallas Day with those 2 guys throwing against each other. Like in my opinion, Tune would have outshined him by a large degree if they were in the building next to each other. So
yeah, I think DTR is better than him, but I do like Tune in that.
I love DTR. I would love DTR just from the point of view of let's get somebody in the building that can emulate what Hurts does. Like just even for the I would spend a draft pick on a scout squad guy. I don't care if he never sees a field for me. Yeah. Just give me somebody that I can learn to defend what Hurts does on an everyday basis. Because I see
Aaron, is he available? Check the quarterbacks. Check the quarterbacks.
I was saying the same thing with he is. Like, even with Malik Cunningham, like, just bring him in for a few plays, let him kind of run around and give the Eagles a taste of their own medicine. Like, all right, we can do this too.
I'm okay taking DTR. I'm okay taking him here.
Yeah. What do we take?
We haven't taken the running back though yet, have we?
Yeah, let's do stock. Let's see everybody that we've taken and make sure that
okay, so Luke Key's a fullback. I like Cameron Peoples.
Oh, whoa. Dwayne McBride's at 227? Somebody fell asleep at the wheel on this.
Somebody watch you.
These are the 2022 rankings.
Did I tell you to update the
Preseason.
simulator? Oh, my bad, bro. I forgot.
Okay, if we go running back here, Vaughn makes sense because like I said, he has a sponsor in the building. I think Mitchell's the best running back that's available. Ibrahim might fill what they need if they want like a bruiser kind of running back, a downhill runner.
Mm-hmm.
McBride, I know you like McBride a lot, Tux. He's kind of like probably the higher upside of the running backs.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let y'all in on a little bit of secret. If the Cowboys wait till late to get that power back to go with Tony,
Mm-hmm.
don't rule out the Rodriguez kid from Kentucky. Like he's one of those power back, big body.
Mm-hmm.
Physically, he's about the same size as Zeke, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's not Zeke, but physically he's the same size as Zeke.
Sure.
I think that's a guy that the Cowboys would definitely take
off the field stuff too. I think.
Yeah. If they wait on a dude,
mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's the guy that they take like 6th round or whatever the case may be.
I like Cameron Peoples a lot too, but I mean I might be higher on him than y'all are. I just think he has a lot of. He didn't do one thing great. He just does everything well.
Mm-hmm.
He's a solid blocker, solid runner. He's actually really patient, which is an underrated trait of running backs. But I think Keaton Mitchell might be the best running back available.
Yeah, it depends, right? Because I feel like Deuce and Keaton kind of gives you that Tony Pollard feel, right? Mm-hmm. But if you're looking to move on from Tony Pollard, because I feel, and y'all can answer this too, I feel like Tony Pollard might get the Dalton Schultz treatment, where we're just going to hold him from this year, and then next year we're going to move on. So if you're trying to get your Pollard-esque type player, you can go with Deuce Vaughn or Keaton Mitchell. But I do kind of think with KD, I mean, you got Chris Rodriguez, kind of your bigger back, but then also your Dwayne McBride's more of your balance guy. I personally feel like McBride might be the biggest upside potential at the running back sitting right here because he shouldn't be there at 227. So I would lean towards Dwayne McBride personally, but I would not be opposed to any of the 4 that mentioned. I would probably hold out on Muhammad, though, to be honest with you.
It sounds like running back is what we want to get here. Can we look at cornerbacks one more time, just see if everyone else fell again before we decide on that? Okay.
Bring his brother Rajon in.
Okay. So cornerbacks ain't great.
Yeah, I think we might have got.
I think they like Wright. I mean, they like his brother. So I'm pretty sure they like Wright. This Wright is a better player than the other Wright. Same range, 5th round. You know, that's where everybody projected Nashon was going to go until the Cowboys took him at 99.
Cameron Mitchell's interesting. He's a project cornerback, but he ain't great in coverage, but he has hands, and like I said, Cowboys like ball skill players.
They also have Tywan Mullen out of Indiana and Arquan Bush. So let's. But wait, we didn't take a corner, did we?
No, we didn't.
No,
okay.
So they looked at.
This is about the time they took Bland.
Yeah, this is exactly the spot. They liked, or they looked at, I shouldn't say they liked, Eric Scott, Southern Miss.
Okay.
Tyler Richardson from Tiffin. Arquan Bush was a combine conversation. Miles Brooks with a combine combination. Mm-hmm. They got Shamari Connor, combine conversation. Mm-hmm. The rest of those are safeties / linebackers type of DBs, like McAllister. I don't even know if McAllister's still on the board, but yeah, out of those corners, they talked to Bush, Connor. I thought they talked to Wright. Maybe they talked to Wright at the combine. I just don't have him on my list.
This might be y'all may not agree with this, but can we check out safeties? I want to see if my guy Marty Mapu's there. I'm a big fan of.
He's gone. I think they had him ranked highly on this.
Oh, did they?
Board.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they had him as like a linebacker.
Love Marty Mapu. I love Marty Mapu.
There goes 275. Okay, so he's there. He's linebacker, but he's still there.
And he was a visit.
He's my curse. Yeah. He's my curse replacement in a year. He's your backup to Marquise Bell. I like him a lot.
Yeah. The Cowboys like him. They brought him in for a 30. So.
Yeah, 275. I would hold off on, but yeah, I love him too as well. So
you can probably get him 6th or 7th round.
Right, you can get them with their last pick. You know those 275 guys are going to be there. You know.
So for me personally, I'm thinking running back. So I feel like if not, then we might.
Yeah, that's starting to get picked apart.
Right.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be watching running back.
That fullback.
Right. So we're going big back, or we going Tony Pollard like?
My favorite running back, I would go Keaton Mitchell. He's my favorite one, but I like Deuce too. But
so Deuce Vaughn's a better receiver. Mitchell's a better in between the tackle runners. Okay, do you got a preference between those two?
I don't. Not between those two.
We can throw McBride in the conversation too, because I think he should be ranked with them.
Let's go. Let's go do Cincinnati as a scout for the Cowboys. Somebody.
Here's my counter. Here's my devil's advocate. Why, because I always like to say, okay, well, what if we don't pick this guy?
Mhm.
Are the Cowboys in a bad running back position if they don't pick a running back in this draft?
No.
Right? They got Tony. Tony has some nicks the last couple of years, but he's low volume in his career. Didn't run at Memphis, 400 carries, whatever the case may be. So you figure you have a solid year out of him. Malik Davis looks spry. Y'all know I'm a Rico Dowdle fan. Like all he has to do is just not be hurt.
Right.
And I think he's going to shine, but he's always hurt.
You might try for Derrick Henry.
So here's the one thing I will say just about Tony Pollard. I think he's going to come back healthy, but just sometimes we got nicks and injuries and you're playing on the franchise tag. Like, is he going to be the Tony Pollard that we've seen in the past? Just like, is everything's going to be there mentally? Well, I like Malik Davis. I love Malik Davis last year. I was upset when we tried to sneak him through the practice squad. So you get the carries there. Ro Jones, he's a solid veteran guy.
Oh, I'm not worried about him.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he makes it 53.
He's camp body until he proves
body until he gets cut. All right,
until he proves it. I mean, he has a chance. Anybody has a chance.
Right.
You just never know what's going to happen. So,
right.
But yeah, I look at him as a camp dude. Right
so
now.
Malik. So we're going Malik, Rico, Pollard.
If they're going with more of a zone approach to the running game this year under Mike McCarthy, wouldn't that kind of also kind of points in the direction of which running back they want to go with?
Possibly, yeah.
Absolutely, because that's what the new O-line coach Solari. He's an inside zone guy as opposed to the wide.
Well, then they want something a little bigger, then, right?
Yeah.
So between Rodriguez and McBride,
yeah, probably.
I'd go McBride over Rodriguez. I have no idea why McBride is this low.
I agree.
So
I would still
pick between those body types. Yeah.
He shouldn't even be there. So we'll go with McBride.
Yeah.
Okay. We're in that 6th round.
We're actually cooking. We cooking.
It's actually in a bad draft. We're getting good value. But I mean, players fall every year, so we should. Oh, and there goes the fullback to the Patriots.
I guess makes sense.
So
this is the point. This is the point where I start trading away future picks to get back into the draft. You know what I'm saying? Like trade a future 5th to grab that guy.
Who would you be aiming to get at this point?
I need to see the review of everybody that we've taken.
Let's see.
Is there
We've got our guard. We got our linebacker. We got.
So we went Darnell Wright, Jack Campbell.
Mingo.
Did we take Garrett Williams 4th? I can't remember.
Oh, we did.
Roy. We took
Roy. We took Roy.
Then we just took McBride, right?
McBride.
So we still need corner. We still need tight end.
Quarterback.
That's pretty much it.
What's the quarterbacks look like? Aiden O'Connell, I like.
They looked at O'Connell. Yeah. Oh yeah, by far. There's no way they're side by side on anybody's board.
Right.
He ain't gonna give you that Jalen Hurts clone, but I think he's a much better passer.
Yeah.
Who's that?
O'Connell.
Okay, Aiden O'Connell. Yeah. Aiden O'Connell would probably be the only quarterback I would even consider at this point. I'm just not a fan of Max. Like, Max Duggan's a good kid. He's a great kid, great spirit, great competitor. I got to interview him a few times, but nah.
O'Connell's a 30. He's a 30. He was a virtual 30.
Yeah.
So they like him. You know what I'm saying? Right. They spent a 30 visit on him. I mean, they're not close to their max right now. I think they have like 4 slots left with a week to go. But they liked him enough to use a visit on him. So something intrigues them with him.
Aaron, did you want to check out tight ends? I saw you hovering over that.
Oh yeah, I just want to see if
I mean,
I like Josh Wiley as a developmental guy.
You also got Brenton Strange down there. If I want to be selfish, you can go get Cameron McDonald out of Florida State, but that ain't happening.
They did Willis. They did a 30 with Willis.
Willis at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Ben Sims wouldn't be bad as like a tight end 3 a block, but he's gonna be a pure blocking tight end. He's very raw as he has decent hands. He can't really separate, but he's kind of like remember that really slow tight end that played for the Falcons for those years.
Algie Crawford.
No. Levine Tyler.
Disrespectful.
Oh, my bad.
He's super slow, but he's a good blocker. But I think Josh Wiley would have some upside. but I would rather take O'Connell over any of these tight ends.
Yeah, look at corner real quick, just in case. Corner.
Ooh, okay, so they still got some of those guys that KD mentioned.
Yeah, you said Bush was a 30 visit, was he?
Nah, Bush was a
combine. Or he's combine.
Let me get back to my list. Yeah, Bush was a combine.
Shamari Connor was the visit.
Shamari Connor was a combine. They're out of 30 visits with corners. Like they did the only 30 visits they did with corners was like Forbes and Stevenson. Other than that, let me see if they had anybody else. Yeah, I think they had some extra interest in who was the guy. So they did a workout with Scott.
Okay.
So that's a level above combine interest. That's like making an effort to see this guy work for you. Mm-hmm. So is Eric Scott still on the list? Or did he get grabbed? Because he was there the last pick. Did he get grabbed already? Yeah. Okay. So that was something that they had some interest in. But
I think O'Connell's the best player.
Aiden O'Connell.
I think O'Connell's
take the quarterback. Give Tolson his baby. You know they always give the quarterback coach a baby to work with. That's kind of what Mike McCarthy does.
And then here he is. Here goes the media circus. Aiden O'Connell, the future quarterback of the
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, man.
It is gonna be Eagles fans that work for the guy. You know that work Cowboys beat, like, or Giants fans, or somebody just
well, there goes Mafi right there in the 7. That's
if there's no way Mafi lasts till the 7th. Like I had no idea who Mafi was. I put him up on the big board based on the mock draft consensus where he was going. Somebody said to me, "How the hell is Mafi a 7th rounder?" And then I started doing research on him. I was like, "How the hell is Mafi going to be a 7th rounder? There's no way he lasts until this late in the draft."
So Devin Harper was a 30 visit, and he was their last pick last year. I think they go with another 30 visit for their last pick. And my preference would be Mapu, but I mean, I'm sure y'all have opinions.
Is Mapu still there?
He should be. He was ranked like 260
still there.
Yeah. I would take Mapu, absolutely.
Let's see who's on the list.
For
there's no way. Okay, let's be honest here. There's no way they're leaving a draft without giving Dan Quinn an edge rusher. Not happening.
Okay,
that's a good point.
Not happening
because two of those guys are the final year deals.
My Fioko was a visit.
They did. Fahoko was a visit. Scroll down some. Could they have some UDFA guys on their list? Oh, they're gone already. Like Darrell Johnson, BJ Thompson were 30 visits or at least interest guys. There's Johnson, 394 out of Liberty. He's draftable. Like I had no idea about it, but he's a draftable player. The Cowboys think he's draftable.
And you almost can't. You almost always have to draft an edge rusher. It feels like.
Yeah, he's gonna get.
It's just one of those things.
Yeah,
you draft a linebacker, you draft an edge rusher, and then you just see if anybody bubbles up in 2 years.
The only guys they have for sure in the future, if we don't count Micah Parsons as an edge, is a pure linebacker. Tank is under contract, but we'll see how they work that out. Mm-hmm. Sam Williams under contract 3 more years. Fowler 1 year. Armstrong 1 year.
1 year.
And then Golson, I think, is probably going to play more interior because
he's going to be a 3. He's going to be a 3. He can't. He
came along last year too, especially against.
I'm glad they gave up on him winning on the edge. It just wasn't happening. So
right. That's fine. He's great inside.
Yeah. I like him. I like him pairing up with Osa.
So do you prefer Mapu?
Scroll back up for me.
I think Mapu has some more upside, but like you said,
we
haven't taken an edge rusher, but yeah, they would get an edge somewhere.
They would take Junior for Hoko.
They really would.
They would take Junior for Hoko.
And also,
look, he's ranked 244, and we're picking 244.
It's destiny.
Yeah.
Plus, Mapu might be a guy that they can get as an undrafted free agent the same way they got Marquise Bell. Marquise Bell should have been drafted.
I know. Because I looked up on Mapu. I think the 49ers are super high on him, though. So
they are. There's a lot of buzz. I mean, he's local to them, so
right.
You know that connection is there. They've seen him in their backyard, for the last year or whatever.
I'm okay.
I think they'd go for Hoko.
Yeah, Fioko.
I mean, he's a run stopping edge. He's not your speed around the bendy guy, but I think that they would like him.
Okay.
I'm cool for Hoko.
I'm down with Fioko. So.
Because that's the thing, you don't need a starter. You need a guy who can develop and rotate in. Probably special teams his first year. He can be ready in like 2
Brooks is sitting there in the 7th round.
Yeah, that
This is when you get the remorse. How was that guy still there? You know, I should have taken him in the fifth.
Didn't even scroll down.
All right, so we got your guard.
Yep.
We got linebacker.
Mhm.
We got developmental wide receiver. We got developmental defensive tackle. We got a power-ish back, quarterback, edge. You only got one. You only got one year starter out of this group, but you have a lot of upside players.
I mean, the way that our injury bug hits us, man.
Campbell gets on the field. Gets on the field.
Yeah,
like, I mean, I love Clark, but Campbell gets on the field.
Right.
Like he's going to play a lot, even when they only run two linebackers. It's going to be Campbell and Van Der Esch very often, and then they both come off the field, and Clark probably runs, nickel. Wright starts.
Yes.
I don't put it past Mingo to just come in and just bully Michael Gallup out of the rotation.
Right.
Like,
he's that physical guy they need.
Right.
And Gallup just, I don't want to talk bad about the dude, man. He's, from all accounts, everybody that, covers the Cowboys in person, Gallup is a good dude. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But when we talk about who I really like
McBride.
Yeah,
McBride plays.
Yeah.
Roy plays.
I think everyone except Aiden and Fioko. Like,
yeah.
If Oko won't be active on game days.
Well, he might make a special team spot. He might make a special team spot.
What did Williams do last year? How many games did he appear in as a defender? Let me look that up real quick.
Who's Sam?
Sam Williams?
I mean, he's obviously was a second round pick, but I don't think he was. He played in all 15 games. He did appear in all 15 games.
I think he should.
Or 15 of the 17.
I think he should be the starter next year, but that's just me.
Over Dorrance?
I think he gives you more against the run than Dorrance.
Mm-hmm.
Dorrance faded in the second half, man.
And there was the conversation, kind of pinning, like, should we trade Dorrance Armstrong when his value was high? Because it was through the roof.
Yeah.
Through the roof.
I was a card carrying member of that conversation. I think they can move him for a fourth this year. Like when we were talking about making him an add-on, I think a team, because he's still young. Like even though he has all these years in the league, he's still a young dude. Like he's 20.
He's come up his best season.
26, 27. Yeah, but like the fade down the second half of the season scares me from the perspective of him being our guy. Yeah, he's only 25. So he's 26 at the start of the year. I still think that he could be traded during the draft in a little throw in, sweetener type of guy. Especially if they were to take, like, if the board breaks and Will McDonald is their guy in the first round.
Right.
I absolutely see them saying, okay, well, we can package Armstrong and move up in the third. That kind of throw in.
I'm getting the same player. I'm getting the same player for $2 million less than Fowler.
Yeah, move up. Okay, I might do that. I might tossing Kelvin Joseph a little extra. I put a little extra in the bag.
No, that's going to move you back, bro. Like if you want to get KJ up, and KJ's my dude. I beat the table for KJ, but I'll admit it. Like, man, the brother just didn't come. Like, he had all the off the field, and then he had a chance. They were going to give him a chance to redeem himself if he could just play.
What he showed at the end of his rookie year was a tease. He showed something at the end of his rookie year, and he showed nothing since then. Yeah,
and like I said, that was my dude, because the way that he had his off season, I don't blame him for his head not being in the game to be able to have a good season. Yeah. But I think the lease is so short. He's a cut candidate, especially if they draft a cornerback in the first 4 rounds.
Oh, right.
Like he's like 6 or 7 right now, not counting Goodwin, who we don't even count as a cornerback. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So he could easily be a cut guy if he doesn't come out and ball this offseason. And I guess that started yesterday. Like, he has to show them something starting yesterday.
Yeah. You know what's great about this draft is the only hole that they don't have a for sure starter on is that left guard. With Wright, you get that. Mm-hmm. Everything else they need depth on. And we have that with all these players. And Campbell is just an upside pick. He might be a first rounder.
Right.
It's fair. And I think even that's why I love what they did this offseason, and the fact that they got Tyron to come back on the reduced salary. Mm-hmm. We know he's not going to be healthy. Mm-hmm. But if he's healthy, then you have 3 tackles with 1 that you could shift inside, because that was the plan all along with Tyler. So even if you can't get that guard in 1-2, you can get a starting guard in the 3rd round in the NFL.
Right.
Like, I think even in this class, I think there's still 1 or 2 guys that could be available in the 3rd round that could start for you. Might not be ideal, but you could see it happening.
Mhm.
But still, if you don't get that guy, you're covered by shifting Tyler inside. And if all goes well, Terrence is back from his ACL. He's a tackle, so ACLs are a little bit different.
Mhm.
Start Teron on the left side or whatever combination you want to see that in, and slide Tyler inside. So even if they don't get that day 1 starter at guard, I still think they're set at every position in the starting 22.
And it's still going to be interesting to see how they view Matt Waletzko coming back too as well. Like, are they going to be high on him? Is the new coach going to be out? I just want to get Josh Ball out. If I get Josh Ball out, I feel like I'm cool. You know what I'm saying?
Matt Waletzko outplayed Josh Ball last year. If he didn't get hurt, he's the preference over Josh Ball.
That's what I would think. But whole season, shoulder surgery.
But my guy, and I have to do this, shout out to my, catch his fade, Joe Philbin is no longer in the house.
Right.
So it's a brand new offensive line coach. We don't know how Solari feels about any of these dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he might have looked at Matt Waletzko last year and been like, that dude couldn't play in the NFL. Like, we have no idea his evaluation of the young offensive lineman. I mean, you got Farniok from a couple years ago, who could be a starting guard in the league. Like, he showed promise in a couple appearances over the last couple of years. There's a bunch that they could do that I don't think the cupboards bear, but everything depends on what this new OL coach thinks of this group. So.
Right.
You think they give a look at Vontae Collins? Because he really didn't get that much of a chance. And I've seen him in the preseason here. He had some good looks.
I'm trying to remember what I took down on Collins. I don't. So it must not have been anything earth-shattering because I can't recall what my thoughts were of him. So he's just a guy because I don't remember thinking anything about him. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this team's got a lot of really good backup offensive linemen, but you don't know how many starters they actually have, just because about 3 of them are going to get hurt.
Right.
Just because they have
an
injury.
Watch us take a tackle, and all of a sudden, like, Tyron Smith has a clean bill of health all season, just in the way. Because they kind of happened with LVE. Like, as soon as we got Micah, it's like LVE. He probably missed only a few games last year, but
look,
so.
I mean, one could say that LVE was, just basically sucking off of Jalen Smith's energy.
Right.
And that's why he couldn't stay. That's why he couldn't get on the field. But you literally replaced Jalen with Micah, and now LVE is like a reborn man. Like, he's healthy, he's energetic, he's chasing the, So it's all about the company you keep, man. Yeah, it's all about the company you keep, man. So I think Micah. I mean, we're let's be honest. What Micah did to infuse energy into this defense, like beyond the physical talent that he has, that kind of presence is generational. Like you see it on the sounds of the sideline. You saw it in Hard Knocks. Like what that do to transform the people around him, you can't measure that. Right. And even more than not seeing, even more than not seeing him as an edge rusher at Penn State, not being able to know that he was that alpha dog. Like, he's an alpha among alphas. Not being able to know that because we're not privy to those conversations and we don't meet him. Like, I'm sure when they met him during the draft process, they were like, holy fuck. This dude is a leader. You know what I'm saying? Can I cuss on this show? I'm sorry if I can't.
Oh, no, you can.
Okay, all right, good.
It's a PG-13 show, so you're good.
All right. So you bleep me if you have to. I apologize.
Oh shit, I cussed.
But like the way that dude leads men at such a young age, you couldn't capture that in the pre-draft evaluation. Like that nobody knew. He'd have gone number 3. If you knew he was this type of leader, I don't care about taking a year off. He'd have gone number 3. He would have been right after the quarterback. So
but they all characterize it as character concerns, right? And then Micah just comes out the gate because soon as he got to Frisco, it was just instant. He felt like he was the best player in the locker room, and it just translated, and like it uplifted everyone. I remember a lot of people were out there at camp. They're like, "Yo, this kid is just everywhere. Like, he just won't stop." And I tell people, like, jokingly, Micah Parsons hasn't sat down since the moment we drafted him. He's been in France doing stuff with soccer. Like, he's just but then he's in the lab working, so he handles business up front, and then he goes and just does his thing, man. So Micah's been a blessing from Cowboys standpoint. So this is
he got to put that phone down once in a while, though.
This is what it's gonna. I tell people when it's contract time for Micah, expect chaos because he's not going out quiet. Like they better get this deal done, but they try to make it muddy it up. He ain't going out like that. So
can you imagine if he wipes his profile like so many players do? If he wipes your profile, dog, there's gonna be heart attacks.
You know how petty Micah is? He'll do something like a Jalen Hurts tweet or something. You know what I'm saying? Like he
don't care about us. Like I mean, he cares about the fans. He doesn't care about our rivalries and all the things that like fans are like, oh, we don't want you hobnobbing with the Eagles and giving them compliments and all that. He's like, man, this is what I do, dog. The dude is a good player. I'm going to give him props. Yeah. Right. So I respect him on that. But yeah, one of these days, I'm nervous that he's going to, and he's always accountable. Like he tweets stuff, and then people get at him and they're like, "Hey, Micah, this ain't it." Right. And then he'll sit back and he'll be like, "You know what? I didn't think all the way through. I didn't have all the information." So he's accountable at a young age. Whoever his advisors are, if it's him, whether his advisor gets in his ear and says, "Hey, you got to come out and say something," at least he does that, and he's not like, "Nah, I'm not saying anything. I'm not backing off of it." So he can read the room after it happens. I'm just nervous that one thing comes out that you can't back up from. You know what I'm saying? Like
David Mujeta is a super agent, man. So he ain't going out easy. Like he got like Micah. He's gonna have Drew Sanders in this year's class. Like he got some all. He's locking up the entire NFL defense. So he's gonna get that money. So
when did Sanders go in this draft, in this mock? Can we see that? Can we see the full results? When did Drew Sanders go? Like, was he off the board for 58? I'm assuming he was. I was assuming he was.
I don't want to scroll too fast.
Drew Sanders. He had to have been gone because when we picked at 58,
there you go.
There it is, right there.
Oh, Washington. Oh, that would hurt.
Yeah,
that would hurt. I think they really like him. I think they really like Sanders too.
He's from there too, Denton Ryan. Like he's like I said, that would be my weapon of mass destruction pick if we were able to get Drew Sanders and pair him back up there with Micah Parsons. Like it would just be chaotic, man, because he's high energy, and it takes away of letting Micah take all that punishment off the edge.
Yes,
you gotta have a guy that can edge rush a little bit, move Micah around, and vice versa, swap them out. I need Dan Quinn with that device.
They wanted to do that with Anthony Barr, but Barr was
Anthony Barr moving out like meat out there, man. Anthony Barr, but that's how crazy it was because we're so used to like these bargain basement free agents. We were just like, can we just at least get an Anthony Barr? So we got We're trying to make it something really wasn't. And I remember watching like the first 2 games. I was like, bro, this is not going to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, what else we got? So
that bar got lowered.
Yeah, it did. It definitely did.
Yeah, it's one of those what you wish for situation.
And when it got lowered, it hit Jabril Cox, and he
oh my God, Jabril.
We had remember that draft? How we felt when they got Cox. This is the biggest steal in years. Yeah. Like he was the steal of the draft.
Yes,
not just Cowboys fans, nationally.
Right,
everybody said he's a steal, and I mean he just did not recover from that ACL, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully year 2, 2 years removed, that he gets it back. But he's another one of those guys that you can't count on. You can't build around the prospect of him coming through. It's been 2 years. He hasn't shown it. You have to move on and then just see if he gives you something that's a bonus at this point.
Right. So yeah. And that Giants game hit on Daniel Jones. That's long gone.
Long gone. So, man. We were so hopeful. Because
I remember because he's actually from here in Kansas City, from Raytown. So just like, because I remember when I did the draft show, I was pouting because of the Kelvin Joseph picks. So I was in a funk. Like I didn't want to say nothing. I didn't say it. But then we got Jabril Cox. I finally leaned up in my chair a little bit and finally smiled. all right. Now we back to business, right? But he just, it just never turned the corner. And like we saw just that small little glimpse of what it could be. And last year, I mean, for him not to even be active, it was just,
week after week, and it was just like, okay, they say he's healthy,
right?
But he clearly is. He's healthy, but he's not healthy. You know what I'm saying? Like he it feels like he just didn't recover from the ACL. So,
I mean, he got passed over. He got passed over from a rookie with a spinal fusion.
Right.
That tells you. That tells you everything.
Not good, dog. Not good.
Not a good look.
Yeah, and Clark got mad reps too. So.
He did.
Yeah.
He like there was a game like I think he had like some 50 snap games.
Right. Yeah. It wasn't like he was slowly like wean him in. Like
no, Clark was playing, dog. Like
right.
Man, this has been a great show. I just been listening to y'all talk. I've been talking, trying to get a little bit in, but I like a fly on the wall right now, live though. So
this always happens when you have people that host shows.
Yeah.
Like we're just in the mindset of just like we and I try to avoid doing it when I do spots, but I'm a talker, dog. Like I talk all day long.
You and No-C do nothing but talk.
I mean, that's what we do. So
right.
So yeah, but I try my best to be a good guest and not dominate the conversation. So
I need to get that cheat sheet from you with all those visits, man. Like that's what I need.
Nah, man, that's look, shameless plug. You gotta go to cowboyswire.com and you can see it right there, man.
I got the visits. I got the visits, but
I'm gonna hit on Matt Owen. He'll give me the link.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, he can't even get to.
Nah.
Well, yeah, he can download that.
He ain't gonna send me nothing.
I haven't updated. Like the last week of changes haven't been updated on the site yet. I'm saving that for next week. There's a couple things that I have to wait for somebody else to release before I have permission to release it. For my final update. So there's a couple names on there that we don't know about that haven't been made public, and I'm just like, oh, that's really interesting. So I'll wait till that gets released of how they figure these last couple visits. It'll be a fun week. It'll be a fun week.
Because I think there was something that the Cowboys typically take 2 30 visits, but also Senior Bowl candidates. So if they like the Senior Bowl and a 30 visit, they typically take like 2 of those guys. So,
but the funny thing is, we've been so indoctrinated with Jason Garrett life.
Right. That's true. So
I do my 10 commandments every year, and it's like, okay, well, I have like 13 that I shuffle between whichever ones I feel like are relevant for the given year. Some fade, some don't. But I've been going over it for the last week, and I'm like, but these last 2 drafts have run counter to like the small school thing. They never take more than one person that's from outside of the Power 5. They never take a non group of 5. Like all of their draft picks are Power 5 guys. Then they take maybe one group of 5 guy.
Okay.
And once every 7 years, they take a guy that's from a off the map school. Last year, they took 4 guys that were group of 5 or off the map. Like completely shredded everything that they normally do. Right. So you're looking at it like, okay, well, everything that we've been taught to know about how the Cowboys function, is that all out the window now that Mike McCarthy's in town and he has the pull. He has the Bill Parcells hall pass and he can do whatever he wants with this draft. And he just tells Will McClay, go get this guy. Like that McCarthy has that authority now that we didn't really see with Garrett. And it was like a mix of, okay, the front office gets one guy, Garrett gets a guy, the defensive coach gets one guy. Like it was all over the map, but you could still see the tendency. Now it's like, this is McCarthy and we really don't know how this functions. So I'm looking back to how he worked in Green Bay to see if there's any indication about the type of guys that he's going to be looking at. Obviously, the offense is going to change a little bit. The type of wide receivers, run after the catch guys, route separation, those are the keys of what he's going to be looking for as a wide receiver. We've seen that in the 30 visits. But yeah, it's just going to be an interesting draft. I don't think we're going to be close. I don't think anybody's going to be really close to forecasting how the Cowboys are going to draft this year.
Yeah, it's a completely new regime because, like you said, Mike McCarthy's now in control because some of these players were drafted to kind of fit what Kellen wants to do. Like Kellen,
exactly.
Mike McCarthy has a completely different philosophy, new offensive coordinator, new offensive line coach. So we might be sitting back and be like, oh, okay. so that's new. That's odd. So it makes it fun. Like I keep trying to tell people, Cowboys Nation, we are in a good spot where even if the draft gets canceled, I'm still confident with the way this roster is currently constructed that we're going to be okay. Now let's just go out there and add depth pieces. There's really few different ways they can really mess up this draft. So that's why I'm not concerned. Like this is the benefit of doing all your business up front. So you ain't got to press in the draft when you have to hit on every prospect. So 2 to 3 guys and we're good. If this is our draft right here, I'm perfectly fine. Let's go ahead. Let's get to football. So.
Yeah, it's like a big sign of relief that they actually did something in free agency. They didn't just go bargain bin shopping.
No
they
doubt.
actually did some trades. Like I don't know about y'all. I was surprised about the Gilmore and then the Cooks trade.
Yep.
It was nice. Nice.
They upgraded them without having to mess up their comp formula, which they value a lot.
There you go. There you go. So there's 3 modes of getting talent. The draft, they ace the draft. Trading, they never trade once in the blue moon. Free agency, veteran free agency, big name free agency, they never dabble in that. Veteran free agency means that they have to give guaranteed money to players that haven't performed for their organization. They don't believe in it.
Right.
They don't. What they proved in these trades is they don't mind giving good money to other people. They just don't want to guarantee it. They don't want it to be a multi-year situation.
Right.
But I think they finally unlocked how they can do this with the veterans and the trades. Figure out who's available. I still hold out hope that they might just go full on and go trade for Hopkins. Like I'm still not past that idea of adding Hopkins to Lamb and Cooks. Like they can't get rid of Gallup. Like Gallup's contract, there's no way that you can trade him. There's just too much dead money that will accelerate, even as a post-June trade.
You want all the touchdowns.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? Like if you're going to de-emphasize the tight end position,
right?
Why would you not be going like, and especially like you remember Green Bay in the early days of Aaron Rodgers, they would run 4 wide. Like 4 wide is no thing to Mike McCarthy.
Right.
Yep.
So imagine that being your 4 wide.
Right.
So
right now, who's the fourth guy? Who's the fourth guy?
Because they played primarily 11 and 10 personnel under Mike McCarthy. So it's like, yeah, you can absolutely do it. Because I think I was having this conversation way back with the whole Pitts thing. It's like, listen, Mike McCarthy, he likes to spread things out a little bit. So it's like, man, the walls would shake. Like I remember last year being in the draft room when that trade for AJ Brown happened for Philly, and the walls just started crumbling. Like, and then they went and got Jordan Davis. I'm like, all right, God, man. All right, what's going on? If we go ahead and we get that breaking news, Dallas Cowboys trade for DeAndre Hopkins. Oh my God, expect chaos, man. Expect
like
chaos.
It's a 2% chance. Like it's not likely.
So you're saying,
but it's not. I'm saying there's
2% ain't zero.
Yeah, I think they could do something wild, man. But yeah, I don't think that we can predict what this draft is going to be like, which is really as exciting as we can. Like the CD draft, we didn't like. I was resigned to them picking Chason. Like I wasn't a fan of Chason, but it was just like the writing was on the wall. That was going to be their pick. If he's there, that's their guy. And then when Lamb started falling, like that anticipation of just like this might actually happen. He might be there for the Cowboys.
I thought there was no way.
Yeah.
At first it was, wait a minute, why are all of the receivers falling? The Cowboys could get one of these guys.
Right.
Then Ruggs went, then Judy went, and you're like, wait, why are the 2 and 3 going before the 1?
Right.
And then you got to, I forgot who it was that picked right before Dallas, but you were like, they're not taking a wide receiver. That's what it was. Yeah. And you were like, they're not taking a wide receiver. This is going to end up being that he's going to be there for the Cowboys. And then for them to make the right decision, like that kind of anticipation, this is different than that. That was like, in the moment. Right. This is really, the Cowboys are in a great position simply because they made those 2 trades. They can go any direction, and I'm going to be like, okay, that makes sense.
Right.
Honestly, the only vibe that I have right now of guys that they've been linked to that I would be like, I understand it. It's not my thing. Is the Notre Dame kid, the Notre Dame tight end,
Michael Mayer.
I'll get it.
Right.
He don't move the needle. He doesn't move the needle.
And that's what I've been trying to explain to a lot of people. It's like, y'all know me. Y'all know I love the tight end position. So I'm not really banging the desk for it. But if they do it, I understand because you're pretty much playing with house money. And I think that's what people understand when it comes to tight end position. It's more of a luxury. Like if you're trying to build a team, you absolutely don't go tight end. Like I don't know what the hell the Falcons was thinking going Pitts. That was the least of their needs. But I feel like the Cowboys sitting right now, if they feel like, we need a tight end, Dalton Kincaid, Darnell Washington, or Michael Mayer. Michael Mayer just fits Dallas Cowboys. Like you look at him, you think that's a Dallas Cowboy player. So I get it. But it's like I'm not gonna be as frustrated as a lot of fans will because there's no, if you go get Michael Mayer, but then you go get Steve Avila that everyone's kind of beating the desk for in the second round, are you really that upset? Like,
I don't see how Avila makes it to 58. Like, I mean, I don't know. It just, to me, it feels like he's the best current guard projected to guard.
Yep.
Like there's centers, there's Tippmann, there's Michael Schmitz that you say centers that could play guard. You have tackles that can play guard, but guards that play guard, Like,
I think the only thing that can really press him is if it's going to be between him and Osiris Torrance out of Florida. So I'm not sure, who's going to be number one.
that's the flavor. That's ice cream flavor.
If you want the all round player, you go with Avila because he's more polished as a pass protector. Torrance is much more upside as a run blocker because he has much more power within his center body frame. But he's so heavy footed that you can't really pull block with him.
See, also, like you said, with the conversion of a lot of these tackles, like the tackles might be sitting right there in front of you because you have Broderick Jones, you have Darnell Wright, like you just did. You have Anton Harrison, who I'm definitely high on. So you have a lot of quality tackles. Like, this is going to be a cluster of good talent because I keep trying to explain to people, all it takes is for one NFL team to get stupid, which they'll do, and everything is just going to fall. You might have your pick of the litter when it comes to wide receiver, to tackles, guards, edge rushers. Like, I think the Cowboys are sitting nice at 26, which I think why they'll sit and pick there versus trading back.
And I think the Cowboys don't really pick tight end so highly just because that's the position it feels like takes the longest to develop, and they don't want to use a top 100 pick on a player that might not be a full-time contributor for them for about 2 seasons.
But honestly, have you really ever had a void at tight end? Like, it hasn't been like.
I mean, they had Witten. They had Witten for 28 years.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like I just think the Cowboys has never had that hole where it's like we had to go do it. And I keep telling people when Witten retired, because I remember I was there in Frisco in the building. They announced that he was going to retire day 2 of the draft, and I feel like if they would have just shut up for a little bit and Witten would just kind of held on for 2 more days, they probably would have went with Dallas Goedert if he would have kept that in house. You know what I'm saying? But that would have been a second round pick. But it's just like I just don't think the Cowboys just never had this huge hole at tight end where they had to go address it. It was just a luxury. Kyle Pitts, as much as I love him, it's going to be a luxury pick. Just something out there to really spread the offense. So
let me play host for 1 second. I'm going to start with Aaron. If they have Bijan, JSN, Darnell Wright, tight end of your choice, who are you going with?
Ooh.
All 4 on the board. Like your favorite tight end, JSN, Bijan, and Darnell
I know what he's
Wright.
going to say.
Okay.
Man, I'm stuck between JSN and Bijan.
Okay.
I think you know what? I want to have the best 4 receivers out there. I'm gonna get JSN.
I thought you were going Bijan all the way. That's been your boy. Oh my.
But hey, Jackson
positional value 1. Yeah, positional value 1 for you. What about you, Tuck?
I'm going Bijan, man. I'm going Bijan because I feel like he handles 3 aspects, right? He handles current because he could be for most people, right, the number 1 weapon offensively in this draft. Also, the futuristic pick because he moved on from Tony Pollard, but also the insurance policy if something isn't right with the run game when it comes to Tony Pollard. My only concern, especially as a Cowboys fan, wherever I see wide receiver and hamstring, that don't mix, so that's the only reason why I would be out on JSN, but he's lights out. But it's just like I know as soon as he gets to Dallas, and hamstring pulls, and he missed primarily a lot of last season.
Right.
I'm going with Bijan.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the thing: is that if Bijan's there at 26, that's the same thing as CD being there at 17. He shouldn't be there, but he's right there for you, and you do so much with him on the field. You can't explain not taking him, and then that makes the other 25 teams look even stupider. Right. JSN, like Tuck said, he might be the most polished route runner. He has good hands. He ain't a breakaway guy. Right. To me, he's like a Jarvis Landry type of receiver. He'll get open, he'll catch the ball, but he ain't gonna be like an all pro necessarily. I think Darnell Wright fills the need, and he would be my second option. And I just wouldn't go tight end in the first round just because the Cowboys don't go beyond the third round with tight ends. Yeah. Bijan would be too valuable and too great if he did fall to you to not pick him.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think if Bijan's there, and I said this on Twitter before, like I don't think the general fan understands how much money Bijan Robinson would make Jerry Jones.
Oh yeah.
I mean, a star running back from Texas, staying in Texas, that dude is a walking ATM of the billionaire variety. Like he's going to fill Jones's pockets. I don't see how Jones doesn't overrule for that reason because
it had the Zeke effect.
Right.
Like it's Zeke effect magnified.
Right.
Like magnified because there was so much up and down with the Cowboys under the Jason Garrett era. The seeds are planted for the Cowboys to be a perennial contender. We won 12 back-to-back. You know what I'm saying? So they're at the point where they feel like, you know, they have the foundation. They have the quarterback. The quarterback's paid. Getting that extra star that already comes with star power, like in Texas, dude, like I don't see how Jerry Jones bypasses that. Like beyond just the football, like Bijan is a great player, but putting him in a Cowboys uniform is like it's the holy grail of advertising and marketing.
It'd be like if they did take Manziel back in 2014.
Yeah,
and he was actually a good player.
Right.
I'm talking about the effect outside the field. Bijan's gonna be a star.
Right. Yeah. Bijan's going to be lights out because also you got to consider we just lost Zeke, and Zeke was, you know, one of the cash cows as well. So you replace that with Bijan, those jerseys going to sell off the rack. Like, you know, like it's going to be pure chaos. I just don't see him falling there, you know, and then it's just like, you know, but it'll be nice. It would be nice to get Bijan Robinson because, like I said, that's one of the few picks that's going to make people sit up in their chair and be like, all right, the Cowboys ain't playing around this year. Like, all right, they, you know, besides that, and you know, my dream pick would be Jalen Carter if something's happening. You know, like,
would you go up and get Carter
if he was to slide out the top 10? Absolutely. I would move up to go Jalen Carter. You have to move up far, but it's like I would consider. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So if I'm looking to really put the league on notice, it's Jalen Carter. That would be my very first pick to, you know, shake things up, but then also Bijan as well.
Yeah, I have a fear that everybody that we talk about as being like, oh man, if that guy's there, like Philly's gonna get him. I don't know how Philly's gonna end up with like 8 first-round picks, but everybody that we like Philly's gonna get him.
Right.
I think it's gonna be Atlanta. I think Atlanta's gonna take him because they like get the splash players. They took Kyle Pitts. They take the splash players. That's what they do.
What we need to happen is we need Jalen Carter and also Bijan to get wiped out before 10, and then we're good because they're gonna panic. Like those are like the two prospects they're really banking on. So if those two players get wiped out before, they gotta go with like a Devin Witherspoon or something like that. They're gonna be like, man, it ain't no beat. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was talking to some Eagles fans and I was trying to tell them about Peter Skoronski. Like, I don't want him. I was like, all right,
what?
Oh no, they don't
casuals.
Want him. They don't want
casual. You're talking about casuals, or you're talking about people that are like draft.
I did a mock for them, and I mocked Peter. They was pissed. We don't need another. Wow. I'm like, all right, so I say no more. You know what I'm saying? So like honestly, I'm the one who kind of put the Bijan to Philly thing in the air. Like at the 10 pick, like why wouldn't y'all consider? Now back then when I put it out, it was like, oh, absolutely not. But now they got hats and t-shirts, Bijan, you know what I'm saying? So like it makes sense now, but. You know,
it's not a Howie pick.
Sick.
Yeah,
it's not a
Howie pick. It's not a Howie pick at all.
I think they're going edge.
They just went to the Super Bowl,
right?
So does that change your philosophy as far as saying, okay, what's the one thing that would take us over the top? You just signed Jalen Hurts. You getting a powerhouse runner for the entirety of his contract,
right?
They lost all their edge.
To me, that makes it. Yeah,
right.
They do.
What edge do you think they go with?
Nolan Smith.
Oh.
Because he can play both the stand-in and a hand in the dirt kind of edge. He's a little light, but I think he offers so much speed off the edge that I think he'd be too good to pass up at that spot for him.
How well, who cares what they do? But how long is Reddick signed for? Reddick did.
How long is what?
Hassan Reddick. How long is he signed for with Philly?
He's got 2 more years.
2 more years left. Yeah, so they'll probably go edge. They'll probably go edge, something like that, because that fits what Howie traditionally likes to do. But I just feel like here's the problem with the Eagles. I know why we're talking about the Eagles right now, but they were just so loaded up with talent last year. That was the security blanket. So now they kind of dwindle away. Like they're going to kind of need that to get back in the conversation. Because honestly, I'm not even looking at Philly as a threat no more, to be honest with you. Like I'm looking at some other teams in our division where I'm keeping my eye on them, and specifically the Giants, but also Washington. Because I'm like, if Washington figures out how to get a quarterback, you know what I'm saying? They got a lot of good pieces already there in house. So it's like
they do.
I will say I'm more concerned about Sam Howell than I am Danny Two Nichols.
Yeah, I would be more. I'm a Sam Howell fan. Mm-hmm. I think that they lucked into him like we lucked into Dak. Like not like he is Dak's level, but he's a similar success story waiting to happen. It just didn't happen because Ron Rivera just didn't want to play an actual serviceable quarterback last year. It's still Philly, dog.
You think
It's
so?
still Philly. It's Dallas and Philly. Like
You talking about in the
they're
AFC or
good.
just in the
in the East. In the East.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, they're really, really fucking good. Sorry, I cussed again.
I don't know, man. I just feel like last year it was just very glass slipperish, man.
It was. Now there are certainly ways to stop Hurts that
Right.
for whatever reason nobody figured out in I call it year 1A, you know, because he was just a different player than he was, you know, the previous season.
Right.
Nobody deployed it, but smack him, dude. Like just hit him every time at that mesh point. Just hit him.
Right.
Like let them get big plays for the first 4 weeks of the season. Just hit him every single time, and it's a wrap. You know,
the Cowboys actually showed you the blueprint to beat him is that you keep a guy in the box to follow him everywhere. It's called the spy. It's an outdated concept, but everyone still does it. You keep a fast linebacker, have him watch around. Micah did it some. I think Clark did it some. Clark was kind of he's kind of wishy-washy on that, but that's how you do it because they run a lot of those quarterback runs. That's how you beat those running quarterbacks. You keep a spy on them.
I wish that we were more open and put the rivalry aside to be able to accept, like, they're good.
They are.
Like they are a good team, man. I don't think that they're going to fade. Like I don't think that it's an insurmountable mountain. Like the Cowboys are as good, could be better. Like I'm not saying that they're untouchable, but they're definitely a good team. In my
also the NFC ain't very deep, so I mean, how far can they really fall?
Yes, I don't think. I mean, if they were, let's say they were 1 last year, I would say they're probably like 5 or 6. To be honest with you, as of right now.
Okay.
But they have the draft, you know what I'm saying? Because they got a lot of improvement because you don't know what's Jordan Davis going to translate to their N'Kobe Dean. Like a lot of those draft players that they drafted last year, it's really unforeseen. And like I said, Jalen Hurts running at that on that rookie deal, it's a lot different than running when you're a $50 million quarterback who just had an ankle surgery that we didn't know about. So it's like,
and they were saying the same stuff about Dak after he got paid after he broke his leg.
Yeah. So it's like how much wear and tear are you going to be willing to put your quarterback in? Now that you're paying top premium price for us. So, you know, and they lost the defensive coordinator, lost the offensive coordinator, lost a lot of defensive.
I think
so.
I celebrated both of those departures, and then I watched Philly fans dance in the street that they lost Jonathan Gannon. Like his pressure is immaculate. Like the way he schemes up pressure, but his back end, like they are like Philly fans were disgusted with how he coordinated the secondary.
Right.
So, you know, I don't know if it's a net loss him going to Arizona.
Right.
Just based on reactions of people that I trust.
Yeah.
You know, so we'll see. We'll see. I mean,
feel bad.
every
People
year
get lost in the desert.
Say what now?
I said I feel bad for when people get lost in the desert.
Oh, you go to Arizona, you're not going to be back. Like, you know,
right. No return.
That's how you know how good Bruce Arians was, that he escaped Arizona with a reputation intact. You know what I'm saying? So that just shows you how good of a coach he was. But yeah, people don't come back from that.
But yeah, I like this draft.
yeah. And speaking of Philly, man, our draft fire. So
yeah, I almost forgot about the draft. Man,
that's what happens, man. You get people talking Cowboys football. You can go on any number of directions.
That's what people don't understand. This is what we do, man. We do it all day, so it's just natural. You know, the thing is like keep going. You know, so that's what I love about the passion, man. It just flows through us. So.
Pretty much, but I do hear my kid outside my door, and it's way past his bedtime, so somehow he snuck out. So I got to go deal with that.
I appreciate y'all for being on the show. I just wanted to, before y'all go, I just want where everybody can check y'all at. If there's people that haven't followed y'all, so I'm just gonna get the floor to y'all.
Yeah, so you can follow me on all social media platforms at jtuck151. Also, my YouTube channel CFO Sports. We're doing a live draft shows upcoming Thursday here in Kansas City. I'll be doing it for 810 WHB ESPN in Kansas City here in town. So we'll be interviewing prospects and all sorts of people on Radio Row having a good time. So yes, pretty much you can find me. Also find me on Cowboys Twitter, cutting up, you know, every now and then. I'm a little bit more milder now, but you know, I have fun. But thanks for having me on, my guys. I appreciate you. Saying last year in Vegas, y'all had me walking around all crazy around trying to find that restaurant and spots. I was telling, man, it's like, God, give me better directions, man. But I appreciate y'all, and the Cowboys gonna do a good draft. Let's get it.
Yeah, I'm KD Drummond. Find me on Twitter at KD Drummond NFL. Also on Spoutable. That is a platform I'm moving to when Twitter grinds to dust. You'll be able to find me there. Managing editor of CowboysWire.usatoday.com. Find me and my staff rocking it. We're going to be ramping it up for the draft as always. So Patreon.com/CatchThisFade subscription service for the podcast. Doing a little bit of YouTube, trying to do a little bit of YouTube now. Catch This Fade on there as well. So give me a follow. Come holler at me on Twitter. You know how we do.
All platforms, just like J-Tuck said, Shane Carter TX, capital S, capital C, capital T. Most people might know my voice from the NFHS network on Texas High School Sports all year long. They might hear my voice on a different platform. We'll wait and hear more about that later on. I can't really talk about the details. You can find my written work on Defiant Takes. But I appreciate Aaron for having me on for the 4th time this year.
Yes, sir. Hey, I appreciate y'all for taking time out of y'all busy schedules to be on Little Old Tacos and Touchdowns. But
where's the tacos, man?
Yeah, I thought I was getting taco shipped to my house.
Yeah.
Taco Tuesday, man.
That's all the taco I got right.
No margaritas, no nothing, no Chipotle.
Hey,
nothing, man.
I didn't want to drink on this show, but I could have brought a margarita. You never know.
You got KD cussing. You could at least brought tacos.
Yeah, good. Yeah, exactly, man. My bad. I have a potty mouth.
Oh, no, you're good. People in cussed on here. I'm like, I'm not gonna have y'all say, "Oh shucks" or nothing like that. So you're good.
Yeah, I need to take some lessons from Aisha on how to stop cussing.
Barnacles.
How to stop
barnacles.
Yeah.
That's a classic.
Shout out to Aisha. She rookie of the year for real.
She is.
She's man, amazing year for her. Very proud of her. So.
Absolutely.
All right, y'all. Appreciate the time. Thank you, Aaron.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good one.
See y'all around.
All right. Take care.